Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zinn is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zinn.
Yes, here I am holding space. This little square right here is my space that I'm holding, and welcome to it. I am Michael Zinn. I am excited. It is Tuesday. It is March 17th, and I realize I've been watching a lot of shows. I watch all of these shows, and I realize I never really say what, well, I do, but I want to say I have this show to hold a space for sacred conversations that you just don't have every day in the workplace, and to hold space for amazing people in this network, the Sacred Spiral Network. What an amazing place it is to be. I see already the front row is full. I see Brenda, I see Jennifer Rose, I see Arnie, Kelly is here, I see Tim, I see Just Jody. What is happening, all you folks? Hashtag live helps us out. If you just type in the comments hashtag live, it tells the algorithm that there are people there, that they're awake, that they're interacting with the show, and that helps us to grow the community. So welcome, and pull up a chair and get comfortable. I'm excited for tonight's guest, a returning champion to the show. Colin Walker has been here before, and it's always an amazing conversation. So let's get ready for that. But before we do, let's clear out the space, anything that we don't need from today. What's up, Jennifer? What's up, Michelle? Good to see you ladies here. Carol Johnson, what's happening? Good to see you two, all live here in the moment, this intentional moment. Awesome. So I'm going to clear out the space, meaning I'm going to open it up to intentionally be that space for good conversation, elevating thoughts and planting seeds in everyone's head and sharing good vibration, and get rid of the old stuff. And I do that through, through breathing and through sound with my trusted bowl here, Sage, to clear out the space. And the breathing is bringing in the new fresh air through the nose. You could feel it in the lungs. You could feel it fill you up, and then letting it go, letting go anything you don't need. Think about a moment where a guy cut you off in traffic and you were like, that, rah, 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 that guy, and that was energy that you took, and let's let go of it. You don't need that energy. You don't need to hold on to it. All right. No more about what we're doing. Let's just do it. 3 breaths in and out together. Let's do it. In through the nose. Nice deep breath, and then push it out. Feel your shoulders relax when you do that. Oh, it feels so good. Another one in. Hold it up at the top. Let it out. Even that sound, you can feel it when you make sound, and just let out the sound. You could feel it leave. Last one together. In through the nose up to the top, and feel it just leave. I can feel it in my shoulders. I can feel Sage still vibrating. I don't know if you hear that or if the microphone ducks it out, but she's still ringing, and I don't like to put her down until she's like mostly done. So there she goes. Very nice. Breathing is fundamental. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for doing it along with me if you played along. And remember, this is the probably one of the few podcasts that you'll ever see that offers you a 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't like what happens here tonight, write me and I'll give you your money back. I don't have my graphic to put that up, but anyway, I've been babbling for long enough. I'm all set. My shoulders are relaxed. I see Lynn Junot just showed up in the second row there because the front row was all filled up. Nice. Pull up a seat. And there's Carol. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to welcome back to Holding Space, returning champion from the other side of the globe, Mr. Colin Walker. How you doing, Colin? Welcome. You're muted, so you're going to have to turn your mic on.
Oh, hi, Michael. Thank you so much. Lovely to see you again.
Great to see you, man. I
Great to
know,
be here.
you know, we missed you one episode, and no worries, no foul, no harm done. Jennifer Rose stepped up, the Sacred Spiral Network. You know how it's full of amazing people, and we managed to have a great conversation. But I'm excited. I was really excited to talk to you because I just feel like we vibrate on that same frequency. You know what I mean? We subscribe to
Yeah.
the same philosophies about what existence is and how to navigate it. And even with that, it's always nice to talk and exchange those ideas because
Yeah.
we all learn all the time new ways to navigate the moment, right?
It's so true. It's so true. So first, apologies, Michael, for not managing to turn up, and thank you to Jennifer Rose for stepping in. So I really appreciate it.
No
Apologies.
worries, no worries.
Great stuff.
I've been working with like the written word a little bit, and of course AI. But I want to do a little justice. I love when Jennifer Rose kind of introduces people and speaks about them. But I like to speak about my guest, you, and I like
Yeah.
to speak about the conversation. So the intro I came up with is there are conversations that inform, and then there are conversations that shift something in you. This is one of those. Tonight we're sitting with Colin Walker, a trance medium, not someone who just senses or interprets energy, but someone who steps aside enough to let something else speak through him. And whether you believe in that or not, there's something undeniably fascinating about what happens when a person quiets themselves to that point. And a lot of the audience here knows that, and that's why we're here, just to quiet ourselves, really, kind of metaphorically and collectively. It raises
Yeah.
a deeper question: what are we really? And when we're not holding on so tightly to who we think we are, this isn't about proving anything. It's about exploring the edges of consciousness, identity, and whatever might exist beyond the surface. I love that. But there was also a couple of questions that it actually brought up, and that's what I love about conversing with AI is like you kind of go back and forth. And for me, it's not about replacing my own thinking by saying, "Hey, you know, write me something." It's about
Yeah.
talking with it back and forth. And so I guess before we get into those questions, we should just, I mean, I know the Sacred Spiral Network has probably seen you a million times, but let's just familiarize everybody with exactly what you do as far as what your mediumship involves and, you know, the level of what you do and receive and transmit.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for putting me on the spot, Michael. I was happy to leave out that what you had come out with. So, well, everything is empty. Let's start with emptiness, because ultimately that's the quest for everybody anyway.
Mhm.
So rather than put that at the end of the journey, let's try and bring it to the beginning. Clearly, there is no journey, but you know, for human purposes, let's say we're on a journey.
Okay. Yep.
And start off with emptiness. And this is where consciousness plays such a role. And this is, for me, what everything is about. We are beings of emptiness, the emptiness of awareness. And we fill ourselves up. We see a thought, just like a cloud passing the sky. A thought passes our awareness. And we look up at it and we go, I kind of like that thought. And we start reaching out to grasp it. And that's the fatal mistake we make. So, because we're grasping the thought of something so tightly, it then becomes what we believe is a reality to us. So, we're in the process of letting go of our thoughts and our emotions. And realizing that we're actually separate from those things. So it's interesting that you've gone straight into the consciousness aspect, because the last couple of days I've been writing about consciousness also, and thoughts and the role in it. So I do mediumship, of course, for many years. I don't want to say how long, because I always think, every time you hear somebody says, I've been doing this 30 years, I've now come to the conclusion it's the 30 years syndrome, what a lot of people get. Okay, they've got the 30-year syndrome. They've been doing it too long.
Yeah.
But it's important for me, Michael, to always be in the present. Even at the beginning, my mind was partly in the future and partly in the past. As far as thinking and consciousness and light and energy, etc., is concerned. And we can only do both those things by remaining or being present as much as we can. So I deal with things as they come up. If it's mediumship, it's mediumship. If it's channeling, it's channeling. It's trance, it's trance. So we've got this broad spectrum of which we can, I'll say play with, but respectfully. Of course, because it's exceptionally delicate.
Right.
So we're living in a spectrum of energies, really. That's what we are. Or we're existing in a spectrum of energies. And in any given moment, whatever ripens in our environment, and we get placed into an environment, then our light and our consciousness can deal with it as best as we can. So if it's a demonstration of mediumship or discussion and chat like with yourself, we just go with it.
Yeah. Totally interesting. I'm finding it also interesting lately. What you said kind of is connected to that about like nothing, and like our thoughts, like we grasp at our thoughts and then we become it becomes something that we're connected to, or that we're trying to hold on to, an idea, and the idea that really like the power comes from letting go of that connection, right? Like just being able to observe the thought and not have any connection to it other than you're the observer of it. I guess that is the connection, right? It's very interesting, I think, in this realm of conversation to understand certain things, right? But still be bound to the three-dimensional realm and the three-dimensional language, and to try to describe it. That's where I find, my navigation is kind of focused now, trying to figure out what words to use and everything, because I feel like the universal language is a feeling, right? And that's even a word that I'm bound to trying to use to describe it, right? But it's a feeling or a knowing more than any sort of words or wisdom, right? It's just being connected to that information.
Totally. Yeah, it's what we're doing. I mean, initially, this awakening was taking place, this cosmic shift, if you like, on the planet and obviously elsewhere in all dimensions. Well, I should imagine in all dimensions, because I don't think anything is exclusive to us. Despite some minds thinking they're the center of the universe, on one level they may be, on another it's far from the truth. It's not all about ourselves; it's about the collective. So this awakening is doing one thing: it's inspiring humanity, ourselves, to empty ourselves. That's why we've got shadow work, letting go, healing. In effect, we're not letting go. We're actually transforming the energy of what we've collected, of the experiences which we've chosen to put ourselves through. So, in effect, what we're doing is going, okay, I'm going to land on this planet. I need to create this physical form, because that's going to, hold me steady like a diving suit, with these lead weights on, and it's going to hold me steady in that density of existence. And I'm going to take on these experiences because I wish to expand my awareness, so to speak. Whether we say as a soul or as a consciousness, it's open.
Well, I like that diving suit metaphor. That's kind of cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's interesting. And what I'm thinking, I'm kind of laughing as we're discussing this, right? Trying to even put it into words, trying to even to put it into a discussion instead of just like enjoying it. But at the same time, I enjoy it, right? And I think you
Yeah.
enjoy it too. These conversations, we enjoy
Yeah.
them because we're like out at the edge of what we can even be at with language and with our thoughts, trying to reach a little further, right? But do we really even
Totally.
want to do that, right? I mean, where that's like the moment of, I think that's the moment where we cross over, right? Which
Yeah.
isn't something that I don't think, even though you and I probably are like so much looking forward to that moment, it's not like we're trying to make it happen sooner than it needs to.
Correct. Yeah. Totally. I totally agree with you, Michael. It's like we are pushing the boundaries, all of us. We're and it's ironic, isn't it? Because we're pushing the boundaries, yet we wish to be still and peaceful. But to push the boundaries, we think we've got to be in motion. So it's like we dive in, literally, with like the diver,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what we've done. We've done this diving suit, boots on, off we go, guys, and we've all jumped into this plane of existence, and we're all sinking to certain depths to find the
Right.
pearl of wisdom and
Right.
understanding of existence itself.
Totally. Totally. So here's what's interesting, and here's the thought I just got and the imagery I just got from that, and this comment. I'm just trying to learn whether it's the thoughts that are giving me feelings or the feelings for intuition. And that is, I'm imagining the diver in the ocean, right? And it's the ocean is the thing, and the diver is a part of it, even though there seems to be this concept of separation, right? That
Yeah,
the diver is something within the ocean, but even in that sentence, that means that the diver is a part of the ocean because he's within the ocean,
totally.
and it's not separate from the ocean. So
Yeah.
again, trying to kind of like go through life and to keep the balance of that knowledge
It's,
and try to stay sane, right, every day, and still have to like function in this collective, and I say have to, and I always mean to change that to get to, right, to be
yeah,
allowed to experience it, because man, it is wondrous.
very, yeah, totally. I like the comment as well, Michael, to be honest, because it brings into play the thoughts and feelings. We
Mhm.
know we know thoughts are energy. Obviously, everything is energy, but we know thoughts are like particles, if you like.
Mhm.
Just like a cloud, it's passing. They appear from somewhere. We
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
emotions are wavelengths. It's energy in motion. So we're kind of what we've got is a situation where the thoughts are riding the waves of emotions. So we
Mhm.
know emotion is energy in motion.
Mhm.
We know
Mhm.
that now. More and more people are becoming aware of it. So if we imagine a wavelength and these little particles riding these waves,
Mhm.
so that's what's happening. Our thoughts are riding the waves of our emotions. If the thought touches the emotion, that's where the feeling takes place.
Mhm. Mhm.
If it doesn't, then there's a separation with them detached from the emotion. I've got the
Mhm.
thought, but I can't feel the thought.
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
know when we've pulled something in, when we've grasped and embraced something very tightly, and we're clinging into it tightly, which originally was a thought,
Mhm.
then we've enveloped it with emotion. So
Mhm.
when that thought has got to go, we feel that emotion as
Mhm.
it's leaving,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, totally. And I talk about that often, about the emotional response, right? When I have encounter something and I have an emotional response, and when I say an emotional response, I mean I feel it right here. My throat chokes up and my eyes start to tear,
Yes,
physically producing water, right? And or whatever it is that's coming, saline and water. Actually, it is water in my body. Um, and that's coming from a thought in my head, right?
yes,
So it's like what kind of magical power is that, to take a thought in my head and transform it into something actually physical,
phenomenal.
manifestation. Amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I
Yeah.
think what we can say is we can look at a spectrum of existence filled with many frequencies, wavelengths, frequencies, vibrations, and we're moving our consciousness in and around we're just moving to different locations of it, basically. And as we go from one location to the next, we sense the resonance of that particular location. We become aware of it and therefore sense it. And the clearer we are, the more pure we sense of what that frequency is emitting to us, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense.
A spiral. It's literally like a spiral and the spiral represents our awareness, and our consciousness is somewhere in there, and it's moving up and down and in different locations. And as soon as we pause our consciousness at a particular point on the spiral, we're sensing the resonance of that frequency at that point of our awareness, our own awareness, basically. As it senses everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and man, Colin, and I knew this would happen. My mind is going in 25 different directions, right? Where I can talk about the idea of that spiral and the representation of our own essence, but different frequencies of our own essence, in parts of that spiral, even possibly as what we might call aliens, right?
Yes.
Like that's
Let's
just
go there.
us, right? Like that's just us in another
Let's go there,
frequency. Right? You know what I mean? Like there's so many ways to go. And then I saw some people in the comments talking about, not to mention the water in the body. So water specifically has been something that's been coming up into my awareness, my vortex, things that I watch, talking about the connection of water to consciousness, to information, right? How water holds information. Even it was an experiment I was listening to where there was some chemicals in one body of water, and they diluted it and diluted it and diluted it, and then till it was basically water, and then put it next to another container that was just water, but the information of this chemical went into the DNA of the regular water, so it somehow transferred the information, right? And so for me, in all of these experiments, these thought experiments, trying to figure out what is consciousness, right? Consciousness to me is the whole of information, like anything that can be known, will be known, was known, like that's consciousness to me. And again, we're kind of, like you said, like somewhere within that, we're tuning into that locale, I guess you could say, of the consciousness and experiencing it. And then oh man, my mind is racing. And then the idea of how we all collectively contribute to that, right? Like all of our thoughts are collective and now contributing to the physical constraints and manifestation of what the world looks like, what the physical world looks like. What this looks like right here, this idea of we're both on our computer at home, transmitting across the internet, right? We all have to kind of believe and think that construct in order to experience that construct.
Yes, totally, absolutely, totally. I would probably say that the cosmos is aware. There's awareness covers everything, and I liken consciousness as this almost singular particle, just moving and bouncing and bobbing around all over the place in the vastness of awareness. So we have our own kind of sovereign spiral of awareness, and yet it's without limit. We're just kind of limiting it by saying this one belongs to me, that one belongs to Michael. It's not. It's all vast. It's infinite. And where the consciousness is just tuning into different parts of it at any given moment. So we're having this conversation now, we're tuning into a certain frequency of awareness, of cosmic awareness.
Right.
And we can say consciousness is the soul or is the psyche. We know it's not the brain because the brain is of a different state of matter. We know the soul or the consciousness and psyche is the thing what transcends the physical and goes at the point of transition, and the physical, what we call the physical death, continues. So then it's kind of reflecting back to us and guiding us to the point where, okay, so it's consciousness which survives life after death. It's consciousness what has had infinite previous incarnations and lifetimes in whatever form and shape it's taken. And will do so into the future. That's consciousness. So what's the thing around it? What is consciousness existing in? Well, we have a tendency to call it spirit. But are we correct in that? We don't know yet. We're still, this is still unfolding. This is the beauty of it. So the closest I think we can get to what the whole is awareness itself. And our consciousness chooses to ride the waves in the location our consciousness is in. Whether it's in the physical body, whether it's external, discarnate, or in any environment out there in that multitude of dimensions and realms, you know. We know we've got what's referred to as a higher self, which then indicates to us, and yet the higher self is not a singularity, because that too is made up of many different frequencies and vibrations. So there's not a singular higher self, but it's telling us then there's different frequencies what we can attune to, which we can refer to as the higher self or an aspect. So at that point, what we're doing is opening up and expanding and discovering. And I totally agree with what you said earlier, Michael. This is phenomenal stuff. This is absolutely, you know, this is almost, we're bordering on bliss until we step into bliss itself.
Right.
And because we are bliss.
We
can say we are bliss.
Yeah, and interestingly enough too, I've heard I've heard explanations in the past couple of weeks that kind of resonated with me, and one of those was, you know, the idea of us being a fractal of source that was broken off specifically to experience itself, right?
Yeah.
The idea of that is like almost like you were saying, like, oh, there is this one source, right? But really, if you think about it, that one source is the collective of all of the energy of all of the sources. So, you know, we're all, it's like, if you look at the scientific definition of what a hologram is, right? In a hologram, each cell of the hologram has the information of the whole three-dimensional image. It has all of the information, but it just represents a different point in that three-dimensional space representation. And that, I think that's why people talk about we're living in a hologram, we're in a simulation, right? It's a metaphor for that idea that each one of us holds the entirety of everything, all of information, but we're only here specifically to resonate and receive and transmit the individual essence of what we are.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I'm not, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. It's just kind of coming out as I'm thinking about this.
Well, I'm listening. I'm understanding what you're saying, Michael.
Perfect. So it makes sense. So that means that it's coming from somewhere, right? Exactly. There's this field of information that it's coming from, and we're just trying to all figure it out and help each other interpret it, and we're experiencing it live right here on Holding Space.
And yeah, we are definitely. My understanding of it is, well, of course, we're not broken. You know, we're not broken. We haven't broken a bit off our higher self, so to speak, and just go, okay, I'm going to break a bit off. I'm off over there. I get why, because in the gradual unfoldment of understanding truth and the reality of existence, of course, our perception senses or becomes aware of different aspects. So we piece the jigsaw puzzle, and that gives us a result at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And all results have got their own limitations. So what we're looking at here is this. It's more than an unfoldment. It's this opening up, which is saying, forget all limitations now. Because we know they've all been self-imposed, or mainly we know the conditions, of the environment have been imposed on us, but ultimately we've allowed any limitations upon us from our own side, not the external. So what we're looking at here is, okay, guys, there's no limits here. Let's just dance. Let's just expand. Let's become the cosmos, because that's what we are. And we say, okay, what is cosmos? Well, it's aware. It's awareness itself. Okay, then. It's almost like it's like the doors to the ballroom's just open. And it's like, off we go. We're going in. Let's have a dance properly then.
Yeah. I don't know if he's watching. I have a friend, Angelo, who he thinks these thoughts and then he calls me and he's like, I got it. I got the answer. And then we talk for 3 minutes and then he's like, nope, I got other questions. Yeah. And it's great. I love that. But speaking of water, this is interesting too. And many people might be familiar with this. Dr. Emoto, yes, that's who it was, Masaru Emoto, claimed human consciousness, emotions, and words can physically change the molecular structure of water. So most of you guys are probably familiar with that experiment, but if you're not, basically he would expose water to vibrations of intention, right? Like either telling it, I hate you, you're ugly, and negative things. And then he would expose, you're beautiful, I love you, other water, and freeze it. And then the molecular structure of the crystals that would form reflected beauty in the positive and chaos in the negative. And it's just even the idea to me of thinking of doing that, right, is tapping into that information field. How the hell would you think of doing that, but the results are amazing and really just say so much about energy, and intention and how powerful it is, how it affects everything around us. Imagine if we could harness that, right, in good ways, and we knew exactly how to use that power to solve a lot of the problems that are going on in the world, hunger and disease and all of these things. We could eliminate that. And I think as I'm saying that, I think that's where we're headed to. And when I say that's where we're headed to, I think the people who believe that's where they're headed to. and the people who believe otherwise are headed to what they believe, creating reality is the theme of my other show, because I really believe that we contribute so much to what we experience, if not everything.
Yes, totally. Totally. Got a beautiful point, Jennifer McCormack. Hi, Jennifer. Michael and Jennifer Mack. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is a really good point. I like the bit when I learned this one years ago, I heard of it years ago. It was obviously there's a warning coming with that one in there. If we're 75% water, be careful what you think. Because that's exactly what it's doing. We're imputing the thought onto it. Going to the creation bit, Michael, I think we're doing it. Our presence is already changing the environment. We can send love out, we can send healing. That's all fine, and it's absolutely wonderful. But the best thing we can do is really get all these layers off from around us and free the soul, free the consciousness up. And just whatever environment we're in, that what we're emitting is changing the environment. So all of us on the planet at the moment are contributing in ways that the human mind and the ordinary mind, respectfully, the human mind simply just can't comprehend what we're doing at this minute on the planet. Our consciousness on the finer frequencies, i.e. what's normally referred to as the higher frequencies. I don't always like to call them the high or lower frequencies, but it fits because the mind understands it a bit better. But they're either finer frequencies or denser to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the higher the finer the frequency we're emitting, then that's just radiating across the planet. It's not just going in our local space, in the room around us, or our emitting, the light we emit there's no limit on it. It's infinite.
Yeah.
That's who we're, and I think we're at the point where it's important, and I know this might be contentious with some minds, but it's really important that we start loosening the shackles and chains to this, what we call physicality.
Mm-hmm.
And because the more we think of the physical body, the less we're going to think of the spiritual body and the light.
Yeah.
So we can say, and it's not dismissing the physical body. I don't mean in that way.
Right.
What I mean is
the
physicality, the makeup of it. It's hollow. It's empty. There's space between all particles.
Right.
So when we start perceiving it as such,
right.
then we start moving into what we refer to as the emptiness of awareness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. and I think that, to put it into, I guess, like human terms, and to look at what's going on around us, right? Like you said, you and me, we're in this space, we're on this show right now, which is specifically intended to have this conversation and to radiate this light, right? And we're aware of it, right? We intentionally made this, but there's also energies out there that I think people kind of are subscribing to, based on conditioning that they grew up in, and they're putting out this negative energy, and they're not aware of the impact that it's having on the whole, right? Or listen, and as I'm saying that again, I kind of really, I always think about the words that I'm saying. I do truly believe that in the three dimensions that duality needs to exist, right? So I'm actually thinking like those kinds of energies and the intentions behind them, maybe the intentions aren't unaware, maybe the intentions are aware, but this is the role I'm supposed to be playing. Right. Like that anger and that negativity, and it's like that might be controversial too, but I always try to embrace the darkness in a way, right? Not embrace it in a way like, okay, I'm going to go be dark and do dark things, but embrace it as light needs dark to exist, and dark needs light to exist, right? And that kind of thing. So it's an interesting road that we travel, right? Trying to navigate these beliefs and still, like, I know for me, I feel very, very sure in who I am and what essence I try to portray, and that love and that kindness and that positive, and that we are one, we are all in this together, right? It's like the two choices are people who live in that credo of we're all in this together, or people who live in the credo of every man for himself, right? And again, they're very different energies.
Very.
So I'm exhausted. You're just like, my brain, you got it running like a million miles an hour. This is amazing. I love thinking about these things.
I would, on that point with the 3D, Michael, and the duality, totally, I would 100% agree with you. My understanding is, and definitely I would put the duality to the 3D realm. What's interesting is if we're on a path of evolution from 1D, the first dimension, that singular, what's referred to as iota, that dot, we've moved up to the second dimension. Now we're in the third dimension as we understand it. Before we start looking at the other dimensions. So the third dimension, obviously, in the process of evolution, created this intense, almost conflict of duality, and it's playing out now. We're seeing it, the two sides, left, right, etc., right and wrong, blah blah blah, all them, aspects of duality. And I actually think, my understanding is this, that we're coming to the end of duality, and the reason why I believe this, and this is why I like to dive in to study what's going on before this mouth gets into gear and start spewing stuff. So, and especially, so my understanding is this, that we're coming to the end of the age of duality, and duality has been led and been not ruled, sorry, well, in part it's been ruled, but has been kind of instigated and used and manipulated from one thing, the ego, the I. Because the I wants to see divide and division, because it maintains its own sense of false reality.
Right.
So in effect, what we're looking at is we're coming to the end of the age of the ego. And when we look back how the ego has played out throughout the centuries and further through even longer periods of time, the ego has always been present. The I has wanted to be in control. We know now, if we call it the spiritual path, that one of the biggest obstacles, if not the biggest obstacle, to our expansive connection to the cosmic awareness is the I. I want, I'm going to do, I'm grasping. It's like, and it's born out of insecurity, and that's all it is. And that's where the illusion is. So we go, okay, let's dissolve the I. What we're left with, well, if we can't find the I, it tells us reality itself is on one scale empty. But we know it can't be empty because we know we are beings of awareness.
Right.
But our awareness doesn't need the I at this frequency.
Right.
Because we've shifted through the frequency. And we can match that with the chakras when we go back through the ages from Stone Age and caveman. The lower dense chakras was playing such a significant role. They was the main players, the base energy upwards. Then we've evolved through the ages, Iron Age, Stone Age, etc., Industrial Age, and now we're in the technological age. How have we got here? Well, it means the consciousness has moved up through the chakras. And as it's moved up through the chakras, there's a greater clarity vibrating in our awareness. So we go, oh, okay, we can invent computers now. So we're somewhere between the throat and the crown at the minute. And what else has opened up? The doorway to spirit and cosmic beings. So you can see this expansion taking place. And the I, and it's loosening up and becoming more prevalent as the more the I is dissolved.
So I'm in my head as you're saying all of this stuff. This is what I'm thinking, and it's really kind of putting together a bunch of things that have come across my path. And that is, first of all, the idea of the shift, of the consciousness shift that's happening. For me, again, just trying to put it into simple language, is perception, right? The way that we perceive things three-dimensionally is the limitation right now, right? And they talk about 5D and this other level of perception, right? Which is seeing things differently. It's like, the idea of taking a three-dimensional object and casting a shadow that's two-dimensional and it looks a certain way, but when you turn it, it changes, all of these different things. So what you're talking about here, I think, is significant and ties in with the I, the ego, the idea of separation, right, on one hand, and the idea of a collective or connectedness. Everything is connected, and the I doesn't want to submit to that, because then where is the I? It doesn't exist, right? But the truth is, for me, and again, this shift, this kind of backing out, is seeing both and being like, both can exist. The whole exists, but also the I exists also, right? Or the individual exists as a part of that whole, as an expression of that whole. and again, it's like I'm saying the words, but it's still, as a human being to comprehend it, it's really tough. But
Mm.
that's what I think is the shift. That's for me the way
Yeah,
I'm trying to define it, right? Being
yeah,
able to um I forget the word. Both truths can exist. They don't need to be exclusive of each other.
correct,
I guess that's
correct.
the best way to
Yeah,
talk about it.
I think what I think what we're going to see is clearly we everything what's existed has existed for a reason. So
Hmm.
we can say the eye has existed for a reason. Maybe it's to evolve to a certain point or a certain frequency, etc., etc.
Hmm.
When we look at the eye, the singularity of the eye, and then we look at the we, as in the collective. So you have somebody who just doesn't want to be a team player, the island unto himself,
Right.
and then you have the collective, we. And in the way you've just described it, it's perfect for me because what we're looking at again is duality. So we're moving beyond duality at the minute. The
Right.
question is, what we're moving to then? Are we actually moving towards the collective, or is it something completely different? And I think this is where we're looking at one of the most exciting aspects of evolution for all of us and life itself
Sure.
uh, at this moment, which is there's so many unknowns beyond this layer
Hmm.
of what's now dissolving in front of us
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
within us. Yeah, like you described earlier, language, we're running out of language to
Yeah.
describe.
Yeah.
So hang on, it's like, hang on a minute, what do you mean we're running out of language? We can't run out of language. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if we can't talk to each other? Well, actually, let's have a look at it. Telepathy is going to kick in straight away.
Hmm.
Straight away. This is why the psychic aspect's building up. We can feel and sense and be aware of what somebody's thinking and feeling
Yeah.
without any language being spoken.
Amazing.
So it's like now we're shifting again up to that, what we can say, the higher frequencies.
Hmm.
This is only possible for me, by one thing, by placing the soul, if you like, placing our consciousness in the environment we need to be in, whether it's the environments we've been in since we were born as an individual, or whether it's the collective environment of the planet. What we're doing is sensing experiences, and we have a tendency to say it's painful, it's hateful, it's joyful, it's all these things. And it's like,
Hmm.
forget that lot.
Right.
What we're looking at is Colin's placed himself in an experience previously.
Hmm.
That's amassed a lot of energy. That's caused something. And so what we're doing is feeding ourselves energy as energetic beings. We're feeding ourselves energy from a specific experience. And we go, right, the details don't matter. I just need that amount of energy. Because that amount of energy is, I need to chuck it in this pot to create a critical mass of energy. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to have an explosion, i.e., critical mass. And therefore, there's going to be a chemical reaction. And from that chemical reaction, we grow, we expand. So therefore, our perception alters because the
Yeah.
perception of truth, what we had the day before, and we can use the awakening process as this. The
Right.
day before we had the awakening, we perceived reality in a certain manner. The day after we had the awakening, poof, our perception changed.
Yeah.
And it all came down to one thing, the chemical reaction and the critical mass. The critical mass building up the energy and the chemical reaction, boom, the expanse of consciousness.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
it's all energy. But we say it's
I,
love, it's painful, it's all these things. We put
right.
these human labels to them.
And as you're talking about it again, I'm just like that's why I love these conversations, right? Because you say these things and I process them. Imagine you and I know how it feels, and I'm imagining everybody listening also knows how that feels, what you're describing, right? Like coming to this
Yeah.
awareness and your whole being changes. You're just like, oh, you hear the angels and you're just like, oh my
Yes.
God, everything is different. And I can't go back to that old way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that on a collective level, right? On the population of this planet, right? And the billions of souls all kind of experiencing that on a collective level, like you said,
Yeah.
telepathically connected, So like what I'm thinking of, there's two things here. One, the first thing I started thinking of was the stories that we hear about near-death experiences and the unconditional love of where that person gets, that soul gets close to that collective
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I was thinking. And now what was the other thing I was thinking? I forget the second one now. Oh my God, you're getting me too excited, Colin. This is so much fun. um I- you know uh, um Let me try
We'll
to
find it.
reel myself back in here.
We'll find it.
uh, but you know what? I guess
Yeah.
overall, let's just say for me, there's a guy that I watch. It's called Just Tap In. Emilio Ortiz is his name. He has such amazing guests, but again, the idea, the first question that he asks his guests is, and I'm going to ask you this right now, as we kind of start wrapping up, is what is it that you are most excited about for yourself and globally?
Well, that's easy. Light, clear light, the clarity or the light of clarity. Because when we speak of light, we're speaking of clarity. And clarity is what gives us peace and bliss and joy and all those wonderful things. And it's not in a selfish way. It's just that we are blissful beings. So it's the light. So this transition we're going through, when we see through and beyond it, and we don't allow ourselves to become grounded and grounded and distracted by it, and we step from it and recognize that there is so much more beyond what we're seeing on the physical plane. But it's happening. What's happening? The event is happening on the physical plane. It's just that many people don't perceive the reality of it with their human eyes, but they know something is happening. The light has always been the number one thing for me, Michael. Absolutely, it's the light. Everything is about light. And you said something earlier. When we place our light next to the darkness lights up.
Mm-hmm. I love
and
that.
we can
I
see
love
clearer
that.
into the dark.
I love that. It's
So
brilliant. Brilliant. Really, really brilliant thoughts. And Jennifer McCormick says Emilio is brilliant. So she knows who I'm talking about. And I agree. And I think that little thing that I just stole from Emilio, or borrowed, sorry, Emilio, of intentionally asking you what you're most excited about, right? What are you looking forward to? Like
yeah,
those are intentions that I'm putting out into the universe. I'm not
yeah,
saying like, what are you angry about, right? I would see these posts on Facebook all the time, like what pisses you off the most? And I'm like, why? I'm like, people asking that question. That's what pisses me off the most, right? Like, why would you ask that question? It's like you're evoking that
yeah,
in
yeah,
which you speak, right? So
yeah,
so become awareness and becoming aware of, for me, my language as I speak words, was so cool because I could feel myself speaking sentences and being like, oh, wait a second. I just cast a spell. I just said something the wrong way and I want to fix it and reframe it. And doing that was an exercise in my brain, in my thoughts, in shaping my thoughts and shaping my intention.
Yeah.
And I still do it. I still don't talk perfectly. I do my best. See,
Who does?
I'm going to correct what I just said, that I still don't talk perfectly. I'm going to say I do my best to be aware of the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
That's the sentence I want to say, right? Not the one I said first.
We
Um,
are, for me, Michael, we are perfect beings in every moment.
mhm, mhm,
We just fail to accept it, not recognize it, accept it.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Once we accept that which we are, that's it. Game over. The
Right,
world changes.
right. Absolutely. I love that. And that reminds me of another saying and just kind of little philosophy that I came across.
Yeah.
And as a spiritual being and spirituality, they talk about toxic positivity, and I get it, because it's like, yes, you want to elevate the positive, you want to emanate the positive, you want to
Yeah.
focus on the positive, but you can't deny the negative. You need to
Yeah.
accept it, right? So the saying was, happiness is being at peace with the uncertain nature of existence, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like happiness is just being happy all the time. It's being okay when things are maybe adverse. You're in an adverse situation and you're still
Yeah.
you're gonna happy through it.
Yeah. You're going to basically you're going to protect your own mind, and this is important. It's funny. Just quickly, what I notice, um, that blissful state of who we are. I think we're on the fringes of it. I think humanity is on the fringes of it, and
Mhm,
it will be all encompassing.
mhm.
And there'll be a new understanding of how light and dark actually work. I
Yeah,
think everybody's still searching to understand what it is. But no, we still don't know what light is. They still don't know whether it's a light, a wave, or a particle.
right, right, right,
You know,
right. No, I love what you're saying, and I love even thinking about it, right? And I'm trying to imagine this existence where human beings are telepathically connected, and everybody is, it doesn't matter what they're thinking. It's not good or bad. And you popped out. I'm imagining you're going to come back, but to continue the thought, like, it doesn't matter good or bad. It's just this connectedness, and there you are. You're back. Uh, yeah.
it's
So
not me. I
so
don't know what happened there.
yeah, no worries, no worries. But I agree. I feel like once we can tune our perception to that, right? The good and bad doesn't matter. They're all part of the same frequency. They're
Yeah,
this thing,
yeah.
and this thing is perfect, right? I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm totally looking forward to it. And I heard also recently you were talking about telepathy. The telepathy tapes. I'm sure you're familiar with the
Mm,
telepathy tapes.
yeah.
I did not know this, but at one point it was the number one podcast uh, in the world or something.
Well,
And that makes me so happy that people are open, to
yeah,
hearing these things. And, I mean, obviously you and I have been in this community and seen so many people stepping into their own intuitive gifts, psychic gifts,
yeah.
channeling gifts, all of these people opening up to it. And then even more, like you said, as people are opening up to it, just their presence in their group of friends is inspiring the other people to be open to those frequencies and explore them, either by just asking questions and believing, or even wanting to exercise their own intuitive gifts, and
It's
explore
we've
it.
got a positive. It's like a positive virus spreading across the planet.
Mm, mhm,
And
mhm.
it's yeah, it's enthralling to be a part of, to say the
Yeah,
least. And there's nothing to worry about at all. We don't need to worry at all,
yeah,
none of it, about
yeah,
one single thing. Spiritual guides say it to us. They go, look, you lot worry too much down there.
yeah, yeah.
And you go, and so you go, okay, it's okay. And they just cut you off and go, but you still worry. You don't need to. You do not need to worry. Everything is okay. And you go, okay. We need to get into
So
that
so
space.
so there you need to be okay with worrying. You need to, you're like, okay, I'm worried, but it doesn't matter that I'm worrying because it's all going to end up the same way anyway. Everything is going to end up exactly how it is. I
Yeah,
love living life that way, right? Just like if you can live life and just feel like everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be in this moment, whether it
yeah,
feels great or it feels sucky, that's what I'm supposed to be feeling, and I'm supposed to navigate that feeling and get through to the other side. So that's the
yeah.
point.
It is. It's so true, Michael. Our suffering is as a direct result because of the absence of acceptance.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's quite
Absolutely.
that's quite a deep one, though.
Yeah, yeah, but and it's true, and sometimes it's easier to say than feel these things because you
Yeah.
might be like right now we're not in that right now we're not in a suffering situation. I'm having a
No.
blast talking to a good friend of mine across the
Yeah.
globe, about my favorite subject, so I'm not suffering at all. But
Yeah.
in that moment, it might not feel that way, right? So.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
great. I love that. And actually, I'm gonna wrap it up with that thought. I think that thought is great. That's a beautiful way to end this conversation.
Fantastic.
And self-awareness, right? Just be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking, and you know, you'll start to realize like, why would I even choose suffering, as an option? Why would I choose that? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Colin, I love talking to you. I can't wait to do it again. I'm sure you'll be back. We'll have many conversations. It's always great spending an hour with you. So thank you
And
for being
yourself,
here.
Michael. Really enjoy it. So you have to. We've created a new platform called the Cosmic Lounge, and it's literally for discussions and these sort of live chats and podcasts.
Oh
So
yeah, where is that? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put up. I know you don't have a personal website, but I did see that you were part of this etheric web group. Are you
yeah,
still a part of that?
yeah, that's the one. Ethericword.com. We can be found there, and the main one is Menorca Consciousness Group, which I think a lot of people who's joined us tonight. And thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for being here, for
Absolutely love. I
sure.
love this is unusual for me because I absolutely love the interaction with people in the chat. Um, but obviously this is one of them conversations with me and you, Michael. It's like
Yeah,
off we
yeah,
go.
no,
We're going on one.
I do too, but sometimes it's hard to pay attention. And Jennifer saying thank you, both Jennifer Rose also thank you. Just Jody is sending love. So that's what it's all about, right? We're
Yeah,
here. With the intention of bringing love to the table, we're all at a picnic. We're just like, all right, what do you got? I got love. What do you got? I got love. Awesome, we got lots of love here.
I've got
Amazing.
chocolate.
And chocolate. I love that. I love that so much. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you
Brilliant.
guys for
Thank
showing
you.
up. Thank you guys for always sending love and being here to support these amazing conversations. Thank you guys for being love. I'm imagining that all of you guys are
Yeah,
out there in the world, just being as much light as you can, like Colin was saying, and I thank you for it because that's how this is all going to get better. Everybody contributing
yeah.
love and being love. So come back on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. We do this every Tuesday, holding space. On Thursdays, I do the live stream of consciousness. Another great conversation, just another intentional hour of going out into the outer space and the outer realms and then coming back all together. So thank you guys for being here. Colin, thank you. And have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Thank you. Lots of love, everybody. Take care. Thank you.